Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host, Matt Marrero, along with your other host,
Stish Ram, who would make a joke here about something the New Day did, but they really just used all of the good ones.
Basically. So I really enjoyed this episode of Raw. I don't know if it was because you and I saw some of it together because we were actually filming a Let's Play today, and it kind of went over.
That might have been part of it. Because the general reactions from most other people was that it was kind of average.
Well, okay, I'm not going to say it was an A+ at all, but I definitely want to put it in the B+ area because even the stuff that we're not talking about, it's not that we're not talking about it because it was terrible. It's just that, yes, it didn't really advance much plot, or if it did, we just, we're not going to sit here for 30 minutes like we used to. And as much as we love doing that, still, time.
And try to speculate on something like Ryback destroying Heath Slater.
That's what I'm saying, right? I mean, we can make a lot of jokes about that, a lot of jokes. But still, at the end of the day, that was beautiful.
That happened.
But still, at the end of the new day, we're going to talk about certain segments, and we're not going to talk about others. But I don't think this Raw was. I feel like this Raw satisfied me. I really do think that.
Okay.
Because I feel like even the stuff like that, right? The whole Slater and Ryback. Look, you're hiring these people. Like you have them on the roster. If they're not going to be in a match, make a really funny segment. I don't know. I feel like these segments, especially the New Day stuff, not going to wrestle. Put them in a segment because these segments are what made Raw about last year and the year before get the ratings and be as funny as they were. Hell, even Raw's 10 years ago when I was watching 10 years ago, even though I did have a gap. Still, I was watching 10 years ago, and I really felt like, wow, some of the funny stuff really kept me in, and I really feel like it was entertaining because, as I told you just last night on our Survivor Series podcast, so pay-per-views, in my opinion, are where we need the big, the heavy, strong matches, and then Raws are where we do wrestle, we have wrestling, of course, but we also have these segments, right, these really funny segments, and I don't know, I just feel like it satisfied me in that way. I don't know, maybe some people don't really have our sense of humor.
But there was some stuff that really did resonate with me, and I'll give credit where it was due and criticism where I think it's relevant.
As if that's not what right? Just so different from usual, right? Different.
Yeah. Normally I just act like a heel the whole time. No, I'm going to start doing this purely as a heel just for fun. But
oh, God.
I will. Why not?
But, yeah. So here's what we're not talking about, right? We're not talking about the Dudleys versus the Wyatts. Why? Again, it's nothing wrong with it. Actually, it was a great match. Yes. No, I'll say that. I'm really happy that, they made... That's another thing, too, by the way. Tonight felt very much like, we need to give certain people wins back, but I don't think the wins were put into the wrong hands. Where sometimes it feels as if they need to do that, and I know it might seem biased, like, so it's just for your guys. I don't mean my guys, I mean younger. As in, John Cena lost. Quickly, we need to give about half of the roster to John Cena.
Yeah, I mean, feeding people to guys like John or Big Show or Kane or Taker or even Mark Henry, who, did cool stuff tonight.
Yeah.
It just doesn't really, it's not really with future goals. And I don't like every young person. I'll make that, but I'll talk about, like Tyler Breeze. I don't want to light a rocket between Tyler Breeze's gorgeous ass and, set it on fire and push him. But I'll respect the fact they're trying to develop him correctly compared to, a situation where I do find myself invested in Bray Wyatt, but Harper got the win tonight. And
what I want to mention most definitely is that I want there to be a soundbite of you saying, light a fire in its gorgeous ass rocket. I need that to be a soundbite.
Light a fire with a gorgeous ass rocket?
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't say
those
words, but I really like that phrase.
That's pretty much what you said. That's pretty much what you said, though.
Now, are we talking gorgeous ass rocket or gorgeous ass rocket?
Comma.
Emphasis is really important.
Emphasis and commas are very, very important. But anyway, so...
And so is capitalization. But that's a whole other story for another day.
Yeah. Yes.
For Rams Grammar Slam. But no, go on.
Oh, God, no. But, yeah, so jumping back into this, here's the thing. Here's what's funny, too. I know you said Harper got the win, but technically it is the family that got the win. But, yes, Harper getting pinned.
The family got the win in the sense of, like, the beatdown, in my opinion. Not necessarily the tag team. I know what you're saying.
I mean it more like last night, technically the family got the loss. It was
correct,
Harper, but technically so now Harper gets the win as well as the family. So, I don't know. I feel like, again, they gave it to, quote-unquote, the right people. And I say that because even Roman Reigns, right? We're not going to sit here and give Roman Reigns, the all of the praise and say, amazing things about him. But at the same time, last night, once I think reflecting on it, was emotional, right? And now we understand, hey, you know what? Yeah, he's going to look strong. Why would Roman not look strong? We don't, I mean, he's somewhat strong. And we did have some problems with some of the chair stuff. But other than that, though, it was a good match, him with Rusev. And I don't know, overall, I do think that even if we aren't huge fans of certain younger, superstars and the women on the roster, still, the idea is, hey, they still deserve their chance over someone a lot older. I'm not even going to say a couple years older because, you look at The Shield, and even though they're older than, let's say, Tyler Breeze in terms of how long they've been on the main roster, they're still in the same boat, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, I still put them in the same boat compared to, John Cena, Randy Orton, the Dudleys, like you mentioned, Undertaker and Kane, and many others that I think will just, like Goldust as well, even though he's returning. Still, there's certain people that you sit there and go, okay, don't let them win 24/7. Because then when they need to leave, everyone else kind of looks like they're just the guys that got beaten by, right? So, I don't know. I feel like tonight they put the wins in good hands. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I agree
for the
with
most
that
part.
For the most part. And, like you said, I think when we were watching the Wyatt thing, just to make one comment on it, the promo happened beforehand, and I looked at you and I'm like, why should I care? Because I want to care about Bray, but he just lost.
Mm-hmm.
And now that the way they did that, not only did the family get a win, as you are correct in describing, but they got a pretty nice little beatdown segment. So I feel a little bit better. I mean, I still wish they could treat Bray a little bit better, but hey, this is definitely a step in the right direction if they can keep it up.
I think this is what they're doing in the sense that, if you remember, a while ago, this was going to be the program. It was going to be the Dudleys versus Rowan and Harper. However, Rowan got injured, right? Then Rowan wasn't around for a very long time because of his injury. So we had Harper, Bray, and then Mystery Man, Strowman, come into the picture, be the family, and then do what they were doing as the family until all of a sudden it was like, hey, Rowan's back. We're not going to tell you why and how because we never actually said he was injured. But Rowan's back. So I like that they kind of finally went back to that because it's like, hey, they're here. Let's just do it. So I do like that, that's going to be a thing in the future. Like I said, don't really want to talk about it much because it's not a thing right now, right? So it's not a thing right now. But moving on, same thing with Neville and Mark Henry. I thought they were building a feud. We both did because we thought they were heel. Then they weren't, right? Then Henry shook his hand. But still, Neville got the win. Good job.
Yeah, Mark was a heel, actually, but he had to turn face for the commercial later in the night. So I thought they handled that really well.
Oh, God, what if he had to give another commercial later, but he had to be mean in it, and then he turned again?
Well, he would have turned post-commercial in the backstage segment if they needed to do it.
By the way, that commercial, hilarious. I don't care what anyone has to say. That commercial was hilarious. They actually had to have B-roll footage. So during some commercial break, dark match, pre-show Raw, whatever it was, they had to film Carito coming out with JBL's hat. They had to film that.
You know why I want to commend them?
Why?
They went back and gave JBL's theme song to him. And
yes,
I kind of smiled. Because
they did that on the top there.
Yeah, I laughed because I'm like, did they really film this?
They did. They had to. In a full arena because, you know how it goes. Like, they always have these segments.
Their Photoshop is amazing.
No. I can assure you. I can assure you, you'd see a lot more lines around it.
I'm gonna laugh if tomorrow we get a report. The Wrestling Observer notes that WWE has hired 5 to 6 Photoshop and Adobe Premiere specialists to tell Matt Marrero to go fuck himself.
Okay, thank you. Because I was about to be like, wait, but then he said to go file. I was like, okay, cool. So this can actually happen. Because I was sitting there, I was like, I don't know, it doesn't sound right. But yeah. So, but no, I really, enjoyed that commercial. I'm sorry. Again, I feel like having promos and stuff like that really helps when you don't want people to kill each other, right? On Raw. So we had what I call the gold time players versus Stardust and the Ascension. Not talking about this. Why? Because we didn't really have a lot of interaction between Goldust and Stardust, so I don't really know where this is going right now. Titus got the win. That's the thing. You know what I mean? Like, what?
I don't like this newfound Titus love.
Well, okay. We now know, like I said earlier, not trying to say like, oh, pat myself on the back, but like I said earlier, the reason why Titus was in last night was because of Cesaro. And even though Cesaro, and apparently they're even trying to make Titus be the program with, the rivalry with Stardust, which is confusing because, yes, that would have been Cesaro. But still, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of sitting here thinking, we kind of have that Goldust fellow over there. I don't think you really need Titus to slide in to be into this rivalry. I think you can just kind of jump to the Goldust thing.
Yeah, see,
real
I had
quick.
the same thought, so I'm kind of glad that,
Yeah, I wonder if they just want to make TLC the one where, Stardust actually gets a win off someone, and that someone is Titus. And Titus is huge.
That might be
and
it.
And let's be honest. Look at me. I know we're on a podcast and we can't look at each other.
Right
look
at
me.
you. I'm looking at you, babe.
Thank you. Look at me. As much as we love Cody / Stardust, would we have wanted Stardust / Cody and the Ascension, guest starring the Ascension, to beat Cesaro if they wanted him to get momentum into fighting Goldust?
No, not at all.
This could be a good way of just saying, hey, sadly Cesaro isn't here, but Titus gets a beatdown.
You know why I miss Cesaro?
Me too. But I'd rather Titus than Cesaro. So, I mean,
it's funny.
The only thing I didn't like,
really quickly, and it's just, I'd rather Titus than Cesaro, and there wasn't context there, so it was like, Matt, you dastardly bastard.
Oh, no. In a match, in a feud with Stardust, if Stardust is winning. One thing I want to note, though, is I know you were kind of half paying attention because you had to leave at this point, but basically the promo with Titus really felt like the whole, and I know this is the word that gets thrown around, and I don't want to throw it around casually because it's a serious topic, but it felt like he was bullying him, and it was really weird. Because I know they might try to, throw it around as, oh, no, it was just a prank by Titus. But the thing is, even though Stardust is a heel, he's kind of being played up as this super huge space nerd at certain points. So it's really weird where it's just like, the space nerd is kind of just talking about space and stars, and then Titus comes up to him, this huge Florida jock.
By the way, it sounded funny at first when I was leaving.
It actually was funny at first. It was. No, it was really, really funny at first. But I don't know, it just kind of felt awkward because he goes, no, the Gator Star. And he's like, I'm not there isn't one. He goes, no, yeah, look, right over there. You see it? Right over. And it's and then, of course, Stardust is freaked out. And then they're going to have a match later. And it's just like, and the thing is, you just have, again, commentary. Oh, haha, oh, Titus. And it's kind of like, like, I don't know. It's one of those weird things where, like, okay, if he did that to Bray Wyatt, it's just like, oh yeah, fuck them, fuck the Wyatts. In that, in the terms of like, oh, the Wyatts are evil. Like, the Wyatts are truly evil. Stardust is not evil. You see what I mean? Like, in this, the way that Stardust has been built, he is not an evil. I know they're trying to say sometimes, like, oh, he's like a supervillain. But he's not actually a supervillain. He's beatable. He's small, right? He has the Ascension with him. And he's kind of this, like, I don't know. He seems like the whole 60s comic book supervillain nerd type. You kind of get me? So it's weird to kind of have this happen, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, Titus looks like a huge jerk.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Maybe it does.
Titus looks like the jerk. And it's kind of like, you don't want him to look like the jerk. You want Stardust to look like an ass. But that wasn't the case, so it was strange. But yeah. So either way, moving on, another thing we're not talking about, even though, again, we found it, I almost skipped something we're not talking about. ADR Swagger. Not talking about it. Sorry. We'll talk about it next week. It happened. It was a thing, right?
Well, they'll have a match on SmackDown, so hopefully we'll see that to a smile. But go on.
Yeah, exactly, right. Slater Ryback. It was funny. We loved it. We think it should happen more. But
you thought it was funny?
I liked Slater not only saying one-man band, but doing it in a way where it really sounded like his song. And I was like, nice reference to you.
I think the thing that I did find interesting about that segment, for what it was worth, is that Feed Me More still gets a lot of pops and Mark crowds. This, of course, being a very marquee crowd.
Most definitely.
And
here's
it got
the thing,
a huge little chanting thing going on. It was like, wow, good for Ryback, I guess.
Yes, I agree. I don't think they should have done two segments about country music in one night.
That's what
Not
I mean.
that I don't hate country music.
I think it didn't work out well because of that.
No, I don't hate country music.
However, Kofi Kingston, the human being, does.
No. I don't hate country music. However, that was my character speaking. I hate country music.
I will never get over that. Now that I've, just, my God. No, country music sucks. Country music sucks. Country music sucks. And that's not my character talking. That's me. Country music sucks.
We're going to get to that soon, but I cannot believe they were allowed to say that.
That entire segment had so much I was so sports entertained in that moment. My God.
I'm not sports entertained.
That was the most sports entertained I'd been from a segment all night.
Yeah, I'm really shocked that happened. I cannot believe that happened.
We're a couple seconds away from Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. So,
I knew when he said yippee-ki-yay, I was like, please do the whole shut your mouth thing, because the whole, shaft, because they did that before. They did the shaft, he's one bad mother, shut your mouth. What? I'm just talking about the WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
I know, and
I believe they did something like that. So I knew they were going to do it again. But anyway, so we're not talking about the Slater Ryback thing, because I will admit, I thought it was funny, but yes, doing it twice in one night, probably, I will admit, it was confusing to me. I was like, why are you doing this again? But I do think that it made Ryback look really strong in a good way, to have a guitar broken over him and to have him look back.
It's not like Heath is actually used at all anymore, but for what it's worth,
but that's the point.
Heath was in his best position when he was like a jobber and just selling things, and he sold really well here. So yeah, it did serve a purpose to make Ryback look strong, but that's pretty much
But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. You mentioned, he isn't used anymore. I think that's the point, though. You have these guys on the payroll. I get really, mad where it's like, guys, just use them. Make creative ways of having them. Torito, right? Torito's just been in the back week after week after week, I believe appearing on the likes of Superstars and Main Event, I would assume. But still, not being used on TV. It's like, hey, he exists. Use him. And then they did. Same thing with Mark Henry. Yes, he's on a reduced schedule, I assume, because, we've heard some things. But still, just use him. And then they did. They put over Neville. That was great. So, I don't know. I feel like if you were, same thing with, Zack Ryder, although he was, on SmackDown, I believe. But still, just generally, it's like, hey, just throw him out there. Come on, do it. Just throw him out there for segments like this. I feel like segments like this, as I said earlier in the night, are what made older Raws as great as they were, because as much as I love wrestling and I do love, watching, these people, these entertainers, and these overall wrestlers really just, fight each other. I mean, I like it. But at the same time, we talked about this on the show a while ago. What do people talk about? Yes, they'll talk about Stone Cold, bleeding in the match with Bret Hart. They will. But they talk about the beer truck. They talk about the stunner to McMahon. They talk about the corporate stuff. They talk about Stone Cold joining the Authority and how stupid that was. They talk about Stone Cold and Brian Pillman and the whole gunshot thing. Hell, they talk about The Rock's catchphrases. They talk about, hell, I'm sorry, I'm only laughing because I remembered, I told you about the tournament, speech and debate tournament on Saturday, because I'm a speech and debate coach, if you don't know, any of you new listeners. So I forgot to tell you about how I was talking to all of my kids about The Rock's catchphrases. So I mentioned the one where it's just like, we're the it doesn't matter what you think, right? That's what people talk about. Or the, you can't see me.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see me. Like, that's what people talk about and they'll laugh about. Or just CM Punk, when he boxed with God. They might not talk about CM Punk being in the Royal Rumble for as long as he was. Or they'll talk about his title reign, yes, but they might not say, man, that match in his title reign. Right? So, yes, these entertaining segments, in my opinion, equal a lot of the love that at least WWE gets. Again, I should clarify, we're not talking about WWE here. I mean, I'll just say that right out. But, yeah, so let's move on to things. Oh, wait, no, one more thing that we're not talking about. Zig Bros, that's what I call them, Zig Bros, versus Kevin Breeze. I mean, it didn't advance anything just yet. It looks like it will. Happy Tyler Breeze lost because, again, we don't want any call-up from NXT being a complete, just unbeatable killing machine. So, yeah. Anything you want to say before we really delve into the show?
No, yeah, I think they handled that well. I don't know exactly what they're doing with Owens there, but it's interesting that pretty much no matter where he goes, getting a really noticeable reaction, in my opinion.
Yes.
That's worth.
I feel like they wanted Owens to not, to basically
become too likable.
Well, no, I was going to say fuel something with Ambrose, of course, because it's just, I'm not going to get in the ring with him. And then, of course, you're going to have Ambrose say, what, are you scared? And he goes, no, I'm a prize fighter, and do that whole thing again. And they're going to have a match at TLC. I don't know what kind of match. I would hope it would be a tables, well, no, not a tables, because Dudley's, but it could be a ladder match, right? Or, if they want, they can do my very first chairs match. I've talked about that for years. What?
What do you mean very first?
Well, no. There's. I mean, I make a joke because they don't have a match that's just called chairs. They have chairs in matches.
It's really stupid, but it's happened. I think it happened last year.
That was stairs. That wasn't chairs.
We had that too. I know we had that too, and that's really upsetting.
No, we had a stairs match. No, we did not.
Didn't we have a chairs match involving Big Show, and it was huge? Like
that was stairs. That was Eric Rowan, and that was stairs. They finally they called it tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs.
I know they had the stairs match. I'm not denying you that. Yes. I swear to you they were stupid enough to have the chairs match in the past.
Oh, okay, sure. I'm sure at one point they had a stairs match, I'm sure. I'm just saying that.
You are totally right about them having this. I remember that because we ourselves were sitting there like, great. It's tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs.
Oh, my. Do you have a fact checker listening in today?
No, they've been busy all semester with so much schoolwork, and I really feel for them because school is hard. Being a student, I hate it.
I need to make everyone happy though, and hopefully this will bring up everyone's spirits. Ryback defeated Kane in a chairs match.
See? I know it. I freaking know it.
At WWE TLC tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs, Kane took So you said Big Show, though, but I love how in your head they're interchangeable.
No, you know why?
I love you so much.
Because there was one time where Big Show had a giant Big Show-sized chair and used it.
Okay.
And in my head, it was related.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know both exist. It just wasn't the same instance.
Right,
That being said, I know they were stupid enough to have a chairs match.
I don't think a chairs match is stupid. I think what was stupid was it was Ryback and Kane. And while they needed the chairs, and I remember that the chairs helped them, at the same time,
maybe
it
Ryback
felt
will
silly.
be an annual chairs match guy. We'll have the annual
Ryback
Open
being undefeated.
Challenge.
Being undefeated in chairs matches, and Big Show being undefeated in stairs matches. What happens when these two collide?
In a CS match.
What happens when I don't know why it's imagined just Shawn Man just you put the chair on the stairs and
here's the tail of the tape right here. Two
my God.
bald, really tall, muscular men coming at you.
One with stairs, one with chair. Let's move
one
on.
With
Dear
stairs,
God, let's move
one
on.
with chairs.
Please.
There we go.
All right, so we're moving on to the opening segment.
Rumble, but it's not going to be a Royal Rumble because that's next month.
I really enjoyed the opening segment. That never happened. I really enjoyed the opening segment. Maybe it's because we haven't had an authority segment in a while, so I feel like I liked it a lot. You know, I personally feel like I feel strange when some people, because I know something happened a lot, right, at one point. And, of course, we had a lot of authority segments at one point, a lot. But we haven't had them in so long, at least continuously in so long, that I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, God, another one? No. I mean, we haven't had one in so long, and really, I do think that if Stephanie and Triple H aren't fired in some way or another, as characters, of course, not as real people, as characters, then we have to have an authority around. It's that simple. Unless they somehow turn, to the light side, to the good, right? I don't really see why we would just have them sitting around not being the authority when they are. You know what I mean? Like, did they just forget that they were the authority? You know what I mean? Like, why would you do that? So I'm really happy that they seem to be back, and they seem to have a really good stable of people who can actually wrestle. And I say actually as if not that Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury couldn't ever wrestle, but they were bodyguards, and they were at a point in their career where they really shouldn't be taking certain bumps. It's that simple. So I really do feel like it's like, hey, you have Sheamus here. Good. Use him. And hopefully, it does look like they're going to turn Seth when he comes back, but if they don't, that's another, there are a lot of, you can really have a nice heel authority stable is my point. But yeah, so how did you feel about the segment? You saw it.
I thought it was pretty basic, not in a bad way. Like, it was your formula here. Babyface was screwed out in a way, so the heel authority comes out, mocks him. The guy who won comes out, mocks him. Babyface comes out, wants stuff to happen, gets fucked over. Pretty basic. Yeah, the story works, and it works for Roman.
Yeah. One thing I want to say is I'm really happy they solidified them as the heels again, because I made the joke about how, what do they forget they were, the authority? But in a weird way, I do think that there were some people that were kind of sitting there going, hey, Triple H didn't really screw over Roman Reigns until last night. So I'm kind of happy that he actually had...
Because in the long run, Triple H didn't really screw over Roman Reigns, and then Roman Reigns dug his own grave because of his own arrogance. So it's really a thing where you got to feel for Triple H here.
I hate you so much.
No, because Triple H went out of his way to make a generous offer, and he got shut down. What did he do for it? He got speared for it. And if Roman Reigns had not speared him, like if Triple H... No, really. Like, if Roman hadn't speared Triple H,
he would have turned around to a bro kick.
You don't think he would have been in a better position to notice Sheamus?
You know what I love so much? Like, that is what we need on the commentary team, because it's just, I love how that's the idea. It's just like, he would have noticed Sheamus. So you're saying Sheamus wasn't working with Triple H?
No, obviously not.
Obviously not.
Yeah, they made a handshake agreement after.
We made that joke last night, though, I think even before the show began, even before Survivor Series podcast began, we made the joke, like, what would he have done if Triple H shook his hand? Like, no, go back.
No, that's what
like
I mean.
With Roman Reigns.
Obviously, they're working together. Now, but they weren't before.
I have to admit, I would have loved an alternate universe where Roman Reigns shakes his hand. So because of that, now they have to turn on Sheamus, and Sheamus becomes an ultra super mega babyface. With the briefcase still, by the way. And then Roman gets over. Sheamus still has the briefcase. He turns heel. Roman turns face. Sheamus wins it anyway. But this is months later.
I feel bad because Sheamus is still somewhat kind of boring when he's not bro-kicking people.
I think he was really funny. He was funny at Survivor Series, though, when they really let him just speak.
Oh, that was fun. And the way everyone played it off,
even
like,
tonight,
the crowd almost understood, which was really great.
Yeah. And even tonight, I think he worked out pretty well because usually it's just, this is it. Just, no, you can call me whatever you want. I'm the champion. Woo! I don't know. I feel like it actually.
Who's stupid now? Who looks stupid now? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe it's still you.
I don't know. I feel like the authority, though. I feel like Triple H really needed to solidify, though, like, hey, I'm the bad guy, remember? Because they've kind of been a little, like, if you've noticed, whenever they need to promote something, who's out there? Triple H. Good guy.
Mark Henry. Oh, sorry. Right. Good point.
Seriously, though, like, I know that some of them make sense, where it's just, hey, breast cancer awareness. Duh. Right? But why would you're not going to fucking, like, no, like, you have to have, some people out there. But for a lot of other stuff where it's just, oh yeah, like let's talk about Tough Enough, right? Yeah, let's get Triple H out there. Just, no. Backstage stuff, get someone else. Or we need to lead a Divas Revolution that everyone will cheer. Stephanie McMahon, no. Someone that people should like.
Me. Yeah, it's not going to work.
Someone that people should like.
Yeah, that's good point.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this really did kind of solidify them as bad guys, and Roman Reigns is the supreme ultra Daniel Bryan babyface. Really should write myself some smaller titles. I'm an ass to me. But though they changed that already in one fucking night, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway. So, talking about something amazing, something that I really think helped set the tone for the night, was Sasha versus Becky. It happened, and it was really, really fun.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I'm glad that it actually happened on Raw because I got to enjoy it.
I really love the match because I feel like this is how a women's match on Raw should be, right? Nothing against, people that aren't recent NXT call-ups, because I'm not going to sit here and say, man, everyone else sucks. No one sucks, right? None of the women on the roster that are currently actively wrestling suck.
Correct.
I just feel like we've really needed to let some of the newer NXT call-ups shine, and I'm happy that they finally got the chance to, because I truly feel like some of them haven't had that opportunity, even though they've wrestled. So you look at someone like Charlotte. I feel like up until Survivor Series, just last night, they really haven't let her shine. And even though there's a lot more for her to show, still, her and Paige, I think, really tore the house down. You look at tonight, even before you're not talking about a Charlotte and Paige, just Sasha and Becky, they really let them, and they were able to show what they can do. And just a little taste. It's not even as if they went all out. But still, something more than I think we've seen in a while.
Yeah, I think this is the future of the women's division right there in the ring. And the two of them, I used the word when I was sitting with you, fluid, a lot, because they're very fluid in the way that they form matches. And I think that's spectacular because it makes it seem legitimate when these matches move by the way that Sasha and Becky put them together. And then you've got Sasha, who character-wise is the best heel in the women's division in God knows how long. So it really, really works out. I mean, she's one of the best heels who's had around for a while, period. But
yes, and what I like is that even though the crowds aren't where we need them to be yet in terms of just, hey, let's cheer for this match. But I do feel like we are in a situation where, as long as at this point they aren't booing and saying something completely inappropriate, which is a sad state, I think, for us to sit there and be like, well, as long as they're not being assholes. But sadly, we've already seen some of that. And it's been extremely, disappointing. But I do think that we're going towards, an area where the WWE can undo some of the damage that they have done. And I think we're, getting to a better place. I mean, if this was a little bit, of a smarkier town, I feel like we may have had a lot more like, yeah, Sasha, woohoo. Though I am a little bit worried, of course, that, we weren't in a smarky town, so you didn't really hear a lot of Sasha praise by the crowd. And now it's going to turn into, maybe they didn't really want Sasha. If this match, right? Hell, these two matches that we had tonight with women happened in Brooklyn. My God.
You would have had people cheering like ridiculously loud because we had two really solid women's matches and one really, really good promo too, in my opinion.
Yeah. And yes, last time we were in Brooklyn, you and I, or at least I, was not happy with the way some of the crowd was reacting to the women's matches. But again, I think it was more so of a revolting against the tag team format that they had for a while, rather than just having women in matches. Because, I mean, you look at this match, and I think this match is a lot better than some of the tag team matches we had when the whole Divas Revolution started. So I'm really, really happy looking at this match. I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be the future. This is what's happening here. And, having, basic heel stuff. I mean, it came down to basic heel stuff. But it's okay, And, I mean, I can't wait to see where this goes. And, I'm wondering when Team Bad is going to break up, because I assume that's coming next. And, yeah. So, moving
next on Raw, but go on.
But yeah, basically, then we had a Page promo immediately after, which was extremely interesting to me because we go from oh yeah, we're doing this to hey, Page promo that's really fucking good, by the way, and you noticed it too, really good.
Mhm. It was high passion. It wasn't anything like sexist or overboard or anything. That I would have been, like, defiantly against.
And by the way, thank you, Roman Reigns, or whoever wrote for Roman Reigns, or if that really was Roman, talking, whatever it was, the idea that Roman said, hey, why are you hiding behind her to Triple H, but not using anything like, hey, why are you hiding behind her? What? You scared? What? You a little, no, like, what?
Right, or something
like
what? Your wife has the balls in them? That would have been the worst possible thing. Like, your wife has the balls in the relationship, which is the worst.
Even wearing the pants is still like a phrase where it's just
bad.
like, oh, no. Yeah, and if anyone sits there and goes, oh, why is it bad? Because relationships have two people. You know what I'm saying? Like two people are involved, and no one, yes, one can have be more dominant, if you will, but it doesn't have to be one gender being dominant. It's just a person. Like, you could have a relationship where it's one person is a more dominant personality than the other. But we're in 2015. Really should not come down to, really, she's more dominant than you are. Oh, what the fuck? What are we doing here? Like, why is this relevant?
Right now, for anyone who doesn't really remember, the origin of that phrase is deeply sexist. Because wearing the pants in the relationship was referring to the fact that women couldn't wear pants, and, for a long time, that it was not accepted for them to wear pants as a style. So wearing the pants meant you were the man?
I, for some strange reason, took it as yes, men have money, men buy pants, because men are breadwinners.
No, it was, women
still
were
sexist,
not really,
by the way.
It's not like they weren't allowed, but, it was more of a thing where, pants were the business world, and, men wore pants, and women wore dresses and skirts. Yeah. So that was the old sexist mentality. So, women, so that's actually where the origin of the phrase is from. And that's why it's still really sexist regardless. So you're correct in mentioning that is also not a good phrase.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, it's kind of just, and it's just silly. It's just stupid. It's just why, you know what I mean? If you're with someone who has a lot of money or who is able to provide for you or, hell, even stick up for you, whatever, why, it's so silly. It's just if I don't have any skills, let's say, in, professional fighting, but I'm with someone who does, right? And, I'm in a fight, and she's just, don't worry, I'll help you. Ha ha, you got a professional fighter to fight for you and you don't know how to fight. you're like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? It's just so stupid. You know, so it's like, hey, let's just throw those away. They're really dumb. So, and hey, we didn't have them tonight. So awesome. Fuck yeah. And hell, we had an amazing promo, like you said, was not offensive at all, did not use any, offensive words or whatever. Just, and by the way, I would like to clarify, fuck. That I can say that word. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, no, you can't use those words. It's just, the way with what WWE confines themselves into. It's just, hey, work with that. Don't try to be edgy and be like, oh, we can say the B word, but we really can't. But we can. Oh my God, we're so cool. Like, no, you don't have to fucking do that. So I'm really happy that they didn't. They just had Paige cut a really nice heel promo. Made a little bit of sense, but didn't really make sense because, of course, Charlotte isn't going to actively try and cheat. And Charlotte even says, because she's the clear-cut babyface, fine, let's fight. We'll do it tonight.
Tonight. Yeah.
And I think it worked out really well. But and I don't know. I really love Paige's promo because I think she should have been a heel for a while because, babyface doesn't work for her. I mean, tweener does, right? Tweener, heel, yeah. Clear cut, clear, just babyface, I don't know. I don't really feel like it suits her that well, especially when she's trying to do the whole, like, we have to, rally the troops and fight against evil. It's just like, you are evil. Let's not. She doesn't have to be, like, childlike. She doesn't have to be manipulative. She doesn't have to be,
You are
what?
evil. Stop it.
Basically, no, because it's just, I don't know, like, I feel like her character has this ability to be where, oh, by the way, be where she is. But very happy that they kind of went back to Ric Flair as a target. They kind of moved away from the Reed thing.
Yes, like they tried not to mention it, and it was good because better off that way.
And sadly enough, some of those things that you can throw at Reed, it's just like, why do that? You could throw some of those things to Rick. And Rick is still kicking, Rick is still alive, and Rick can come out if, he needed to, like if they need to have a situation where, Rick says, hey, do this for you, don't do this for me, right, to Charlotte. That would be nice as a way of passing the torch, like, hey, look, I know sometimes it feels like it's about me, we both come out and whatever, but it's really about you. So don't let the anger cloud you, like all that, they can do that stuff where with Reed, it hurts, but then where do you really go from it? You can't continuously mention him. You can't continuously go to that well. And a lot of people are going to be frustrated and sad by it. So stick with Rick for right now. Don't, that's what you should do. So, yeah, New Day had their segment that I do not believe anyone was scripted during. It was very hard to imagine that they were all scripted, not to try to say that, oh, WWE writers can't script good things, because they have. But I really feel like everyone sounded natural, to the point of sorcery.
And if they were, Kofi ignored it and absolutely killed it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like any of them were. I don't mean the New Day. I mean everyone involved. When you look at Kalisto, and then you see the Usos sounding natural. When I use the word sorcery, I'm not kidding. Like, the Usos sounded very natural. When usually they try to do the whole, oh, we have to be energetic and remember our lines, and it doesn't work out well for me. But no,
it sounded really funny physically too. Where sorry, it came off really funny physically too, because you had them like whoa, 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 and like jumping and stopping, and like they were excited like childlike ways, like yes, we can talk, all right, whoa,
yeah. And again, Kalisto too. Kalisto and Sin Cara, though I have to admit, Sin Cara, not a big fan of them thinking, oh, he has to speak he has to speak some Spanish too. I don't really see the point of that.
That just makes me laugh because his mask doesn't have a mouth hole. But I know that's me being stupid.
No, that was funny. Look, I'm okay with that. But I think, all right, look at Hideo Itami, right? He wouldn't, I don't know, I feel like it would be really stupid if, they have Hideo Itami, let's say they're doing a special Thanksgiving thing, right, in the future, right? They have Hideo Itami sitting there next to Funaki or just Hideo Itami himself, and he sits there and he, with everyone, he goes, "Itadakimasu, thank you for the meal." Just fucking say either one and have someone translate for you. It is completely I have no asinine to me when someone speaks both languages, unless they are trying to say something extremely important, like someone who wants to say, to the people of Paris, let's say, fight on, work through this or something like that, because of the recent terror attacks. Like I understand someone speaking in English and in French to speak to the people of Paris, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is not one of those cases. This is a fucking wrestling promo, right? Where you have these two guys, and it's like, I understand if it's like, oh, Kalisto, what Sin Cara is saying here is, no, it's just Sin Cara speaking in Spanish and then speaking in English. He didn't say anything special. Like, he just said the same shit. I know this from my basic, you know this from your knowledge of Spanish. Like, we both know this. He said the same thing twice. And it really seems stupid to me when they do that, especially with, with the Spanish people, because it's just like, hey, like, if you're, if you don't understand Raw, right, and that, because all you speak is Spanish, I can assure you, WWE, that didn't help at all with the whole 98% of your broadcast being in English. You'd probably have a better time watching it on Telemundo, right, with the Spanish announcers voicing it over, than hearing Sin Cara say about 3 lines of Spanish and have someone, say, oh, so that's what's been going on. Like, I really don't fucking think that was needed. It's the same thing with, Los Matadores going like, oh, sí.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work, Either have Sin Cara go full Spanish, not speak any English, or have him speak in English with an accent. I'm cool with that.
I don't like it because I think it feeds the stereotype a little bit. The idea of like, oh, hola. It's like, no, they don't, like, ADR doesn't, and like ADR gets to do it too sometimes, which is really annoying. But for the
it's
most
interesting.
part,
when ADR does it, I feel like, I don't know, something about him feels a bit more classy with it, where he also, I feel like he tries to,
why?
like when he calls people, here's what he calls people perro, but like I feel like you can call people a thing in a different language, that's fine. But I feel like if he goes, oh, you perro dog, you dog perro, and it's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
I think part of it is, one, because he doesn't translate everything. But two, he also gets lengthier promos. Like, Los Matadores never got lengthy promos. Kalisto,
no, they only did that shit.
He at least got a lengthier promo, and I was really happy.
That he didn't really speak Spanish. It was clear-cut English. Or, he did say, I will admit, he did say, como se dice, because, like, I will admit, like, yes, he did have that. But that's something that can happen, in my opinion. That made me feel real.
Because I speak Spanish, so, like, enough of it, he's like, como se dice? I'm like, oh, that's great. He's like, how do you say, New Day runs? And I'm like, that made me laugh.
No, like, because I will admit, I'll take that, even though it was weird that he had a full-on fucking promo where he spoke clear English, and he didn't even sound like that too much in his last promo for the tournament. But whatever, I'll take a little bit of, tell me what this means. But it's funny how he said that to Sin Cara, who then in turn only speaks Spanish and then English. Like, it's like, guys, one of them you can't just do that. You can't just fucking one of them has to be the full clear cut. But again, I don't know, maybe it's like I can give it a little bit of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Because even in English, it's just like, you have me say all the time, what's the word I'm looking for, right? As a native English speaker. So I'm okay with the whole what's the word I'm looking for thing, but I think the idea of saying words twice, especially when it's just a direct translation, it's just really like, who are you speaking to? Like, who are you speaking to right now? You're not, this is not a dual broadcast, right? Any,
I have
just
a
speak
question.
English. Okay.
When, if there's like an SAP viewing of Raw, right? It's only commentary that's translated, right?
Actually, when I flip to the channel, like sometimes just to be like, what do they do here? They actually have the commentary guys dubbing over any promos.
Okay, because I was gonna say, do they speak that part English?
Well, it was both in English and Spanish, so they don't fucking even need to touch it. I don't know what they would say. Like, maybe they have the commentator saying, oh, he's repeating himself. Oh, he's repeating himself. Because, like, I don't know what the fuck they would say. The only thing I think frustrates me, that really gets me mad, is that, here's a good thing. The person that's doing the voiceover is actually one of the two guys in Spanish commentary.
Good.
It's him. What I don't like is, whenever Triple H is on screen, he doesn't go, ah. I get really mad at that because he's doing the voiceover, or at least some kind of localization in Spanish, like, you know, like, basically it would be like, you know, let me tell you something, see, or something like that. I don't know, like, I would prefer, or see.
They're
you know?
not the same thing at all.
That's why I said localization, you know,
the
just
only
some,
way
like...
this is okay is because you're double Hispanic.
I'm Cuban and Puerto Rican. Though I love how you said double, as if it's just like, yep, no. It's like, can I have Hispanic? Oh, I would like a double Hispanic with, you know, with extra Goya on top. Like, what the fuck are you...
Right, like, it's funny because genetically, you're not just regular Hispanic. You're Hispanic with the side of Goya seasoned with sazon. Like, so, like,
oh, I'm so happy that half of our listener base got that. So that means 2 out of 4 people listening got that.
2 out of 4 are happy because, like, wow, so this really did grow up with Hispanic people. Yes, my best friends are mainly Hispanic, and none of them speak Spanish.
Sí, believe that. Believe that, niño. Sí.
Did you say believe that, niño?
Yes. I was like, what is believe that in Spanish? But I know what it is in English. Believe that, niño.
I thought you could say, I know what it is in Japanese, because if you said date bayo, I was going to kick your ass. Date
bayo, niño. Sí. Well, really, by the way, that's another thing that gets me fucking mad before we transition right back into this. The idea that something, okay, right? So it's usually with Japanese stuff too, but here's what I mean. In a movie, and this is like in an English movie, right? So English movie, Japanese guy in a board meeting, right? Just, you know, says something in says something in English, but then says like a Japanese phrase at the end, or says like, Satish-san. And it's kind of like, you're in a fucking board meeting. No, like, you speak in the language of the place that you're in. In other words, they teach, like, okay, and I think maybe you've seen it in some, even though we love Bond movies, in some earlier Bond movies as well, the idea of like, oh, these foreigners are definitely going to throw in some random words of their own language in there. And it's just like the whole Nino thing, right? Like, I made a joke, but it really would frustrate me. It's like no one looks at you and just says like, hello, Nino. No, it's hola, Nino. Or it's like, hello.
And I have to admit, I think it happens the most with Spanish because of the idea of this perceived notion of Spanglish, which is technically a language.
I admit, right? It exists. Spanglish exists. But I just feel weird when it's done, or at least more so, not just Spanish, just in general with like Japanese, even like I think Russian, right? Just this idea of just like a little bit of German too sometimes, depends on the movie, that it's just like, you know, slew of English words because you are in an English-speaking country. Bam! German, Japanese, a Russian word, whatever. And granted, not saying ones that are accepted, like you think of like things like samurai, ninja, jutsu, not like accepted ones. Just things like san. No, because those are accepted.
No, you're totally correct. I'm like, yeah, that's not even an anime joke here. Like, those are accepted words in common speak here in America.
Yeah, they've been accepted for a very long time. But still, the idea is that, like, you know, san, which technically isn't a word, but it's a suffix, but still san, you know, things, I mean, just, you know the word. They're not even referring to, like, you know, anime subtitles. I mean, like, actually, like, in American films, these words will be thrown around. Just because it's like, hey, he's a foreigner and you need to know. Just like, oh, thank you. But yeah. So let's jump back into the Raw and get out of wherever the hell we were. Oh, God, no. I sit back down. New Day segment. That's where we were. So speaking about this damn Spanglish thing again, no. Everyone was entertaining, though. All jokes aside, moving, you know, away from everything. Everyone was entertaining in this segment. And they really were on their A game. And this is a segment that made me sit there and go, see, this is why we need these segments. You know, why would we not have segments like these? Come on, we need these. Bad. Because how entertaining was this? I mean, I think this made the night. At least promo-wise, this made the night.
Hands down, it was the best segment of the night.
Yeah. And
Kofi
you know,
Kingston
and
really hates country music.
Also, shame.
That was hilarious. Like, Kofi killed this segment. Not only shame, but pointing with the goddamn unicorn staff. And he began it by what we can only presume is tying his real hair into a unicorn horn.
Yeah, the way
this shit up.
Yeah, I think it made us sad once thinking about how there's a chance that we could have never seen it.
There's a chance that a year ago, before this, Kofi would never have never gotten a chance to be this funny.
Basically, it's really sad because it's just like, wow, I don't know, I sit back and I just really think wow, we really could have just never seen Kofi be this funny ever.
And he's great at it. He's really great. I mean, he's never been a heel before, and this is so much fun for him. You can see him embracing it. Like, X has been a heel, Big E has been a heel, But
yeah,
you can tell this is new to him in a way.
I thought you were going to speak again.
No, we're good.
Okay. But yeah, moving on. No, because I paused. I was like, yeah, let him speak. And then you did.
No, we're good.
We're not live. Paige fought Charlotte, and I will admit, okay, so I thought the match from last night was a bit better than this one, but they still tried, and again, I do think that they did really, really well. Thought it was going to be the main event, but of course we have Roman and Rusev in a random match, so of course that has to supersede this one.
Which sucks, because I thought this was a pretty good match.
And here's the thing, again, it's not like we don't like Reigns or anything, but technically the match did not have to do... Okay, it's weird. Yes, the match has Roman Reigns, who was screwed over last night for the WWE title by the Authority. There is a lot going into this that is huge, but Roman Reigns versus Rusev, this was not like if you beat Rusev, you get a chance. No, it's just like you have to go through Rusev. In other words, you have to fight Rusev. That's all. And the way the night ended, I don't know. I really do feel like, having Paige do the whole PTO on Charlotte on the table could have also been a great end to Raw. So, I don't know how to feel about it. Where I get it, where it's just like, oh, but it's the WWE title. Yes, but we don't have women going for the WWE title, meaning that if the WWE title is the top of the men's division, the women's, the Divas title is the top of the women's division. So we can have a situation where it's just like, oh, this title's being put on the line. This one isn't, meaning that this one should probably go over. Where you wouldn't expect the WWE title to be put on the line and not being the main event.
Exactly. For the record,
unless
on the match.
It's the opening match.
Go ahead.
Unless it's the opening match, because it happened with Rollins and Neville. Go on.
The match itself, I thought the ending was handled really well because it felt vicious, and I appreciated that. I liked that kind of roughness about it. I really want to see Paige or Charlotte or somebody get put someone through a table instead of her doing the submission. I still like it. I like that whole, I'm going to put you in submission, you're helpless here. But
yes.
I would much, much, much rather her actually just, DDTing her through the table and just leaving her in remains. Because that, after the promo she cut earlier, would have made her look so legitimate.
Basically. Yeah, I would have really enjoyed that. I think I would have really enjoyed it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't bad. That's all I'll say. It was not bad at all. So, I just think that it could have been the main event. I understand why what they did with Rusev and Reigns at the end was the main event, but yeah. Though I want to mention before moving on, I did love seeing Paige take down Charlotte, really trying to break her down. Because I do think that, a little bit of that happened last night, although Charlotte was a little bit more dominant last night. So I did enjoy the idea of her really working on the legs, trying to really just break her. And, hey, right? We had 2 matches tonight, NXT veterans all around.
Makes sense.
And I think it worked out really, really well. I don't know what they're going to try next because, I mean, Paige still did that to Charlotte, so I guess that means Charlotte would want some kind of revenge. But
yeah.
I do think that they kind of blew it off a little bit too early. I don't know what other women's match you would have had, so I guess this worked. But I do think that they blew it off a little bit too early. We've seen this before with the idea of, oh, let's do a rematch of a title shot. And it's just like, guys, you know, if the title changed hands, and it's just, guys, you know, while we don't always sit there and say that we need the power of 3, you know, 3 pay-per-views, sometimes 2 works. Like, we like 2. The rubber match thing is always where it gets a little bit too much, I feel. And I think you do too. But 2 matches, usually not a big deal, right, in a feud.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah. So, moving on to the main event, Roman Reigns versus Rusev. So
we're making really good time tonight for what it's worth.
Somehow. And we actually crack jokes, too. It's weird. I don't think they should have had such a long match, but Rusev is fresh and injury-free. At least I would assume he's injury-free because he's back, I would hope. And Reigns, while Reigns did wrestle 2 matches last night, they were very short. So, I mean, it's a weird situation where I don't think they should have wrestled such a long match, but it happened, obviously. And either way, I do think it was a good match. And what I enjoyed about it is that even though we had Sheamus thrown out, they brought in Barrett. I was confused about him not being there before, so I'm really happy that they finally brought him out because I really would have been a little frustrated if it's just great. So you built up Sheamus and Barrett for a while, and then you just don't have them being a thing anymore.
Because that's how wrestling works.
Exactly. So I'm really excited about them.
Continuity is nice.
Back. It really is, especially when
I was making jokes a lot before a couple weeks ago about a European alliance. I mean,
yeah. Apparently the Europeans are united under Americans, which I don't know if that is a political thing in itself. Just all these Europeans being united under America.
Cesaro comes back, joins them, becomes their leader. He's actually been pulling strings for the entire time. He's the dastardly real demon.
It makes me so mad because it's like, wait, didn't they beat the shit out of Cesaro? They did. It was all according to his plan.
It's like, but he was out with a shoulder injury. Sometimes you have to see through the trees for the forest. What? That doesn't even... Wait a minute. Was that a Bray Wyatt promo? Bray's like, I am not part of America. So you're European? I'm not part of America. That'd be great, because Roman Reigns is like there. It's like, fine. At least I have my Samoan allies, the Usos. Actually, because we failed geography, we thought we were with them. Our bad. The Usos are with them, too.
No, it's like, actually, we thought we were with them. What does that mean? Samoan drop. I mean, European drop.
Isn't there a European drop? I know there's, like, European uppercut, but that's pretty much all Cesaro. Drop. Like, Cesaro popularized it.
God, it just makes me think about, I said Euromoan, and I realized it's basically why Mex America sounds so stupid. Because imagine if just Cesaro, as a heel, worked with the Usos, and they talked about making Euromoan a thing. Europe and the island of Samoa will come together.
Hey, we had Eurasia.
Euromoa.
We had
and by
Eurasia.
The way, I feel like Cesaro would be like, and by the way, giving Samoans a lot of credit here. Small island, big Europe. Still giving them the name. But, so this is how much we want to talk about the main event. No, but main event wasn't bad. Again, was not bad. Happy to see a young, healthy Rusev, because I was a little nervous. I was like, wait, you know, because we all thought, like, wait, when's Rusev coming back? And we started doing the timetable and started saying, oh, it might be soon, because, you know, he was injured earlier than Lana was, I believe, or something like that, right? So we sat there and thought, he could be coming back soon. And then, obviously, he did in the opening segment, and he's still here. right? He's wrestling the night of. And interestingly enough, while he did, it's a weird situation because I don't know, we never know how wrestling works in terms of are you being punished or not. Because it's just, we heard about all this stuff with him and Lana and, how some people are a little mad at Lana and et cetera, et cetera. But Rusev comes back and he's with the Authority. And I'm sorry, but that's a really weird way to punish somebody because you just gave him a major angle. Yeah, it's losing to Roman Reigns, but he isn't losing to Zack Ryder on Superstars. The man is losing to Roman Reigns. And yes, Roman Reigns hit him with a chair 8 times.
You counted. Much respect.
I believe it was 8. The thing is, or I think they counted. Either way, that was pretty bad because they, I know you sort of saw this because you were flipping channels. It felt like it was back in the 90s, except that instead of WCW, it's Gravity Falls. But anyway, so yeah, you were flipping back and forth, but it was a very frustrating moment because I know how he made jokes last night, and even just in the show, I think, and of course, before the show, about how it's just like, yes, Roman Reigns, the super Daniel Bryan babyface. But
they're trying to conform Roman to be Daniel Bryan and John Cena at the same time.
That's the problem. I honestly was warming up to him becoming Daniel Bryan because, what if Daniel Bryan really never comes back? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Roman Reigns being this. I mean, look, it's hard to make a guy an underdog, but when you give him the Authority, yeah, you can make him an underdog. A guy like Roman Reigns an underdog, but you can. I mean, hell, while I said that Brock Lesnar feels really bad in the underdog kind of role, I have to be honest. If you brought out Sheamus, Rusev, and Barrett, yeah, you could make Brock Lesnar look like an underdog. I think it was just the idea that we had Seth Rollins, who hadn't been proved as a threat for a very long time in their canon, Seth Rollins, Kane, and J&J Security, and it was like, oh no, it's a 4-on-1 beatdown. And it was like Brock Lesnar eats people Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble's size daily. He has to carbo load. So that felt weird. In this situation, Reigns against 3 young, currently active, wrestlers, yeah, it makes sense. So I can take him as that. What I don't really enjoy necessarily is, look, I understand him being able to subdue Rusev, right? Needing to subdue Rusev. It makes sense, right? But the idea of overkill is extremely existent because, it reminds me of all right, let's say, someone has a gun and you get them, you wrestle them to the ground and you take it from them. And in the struggle, you're nervous. You're like, you know what? I need to incapacitate this person. And you shoot them. Right? Oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. But you know what? I incapacitated them. There's a difference between shooting someone rather than doing it 8 times in the head. Like, I did it. No, you didn't. You didn't. You know what I mean? You didn't incapacitate someone. You brutally hurt them. Or in this case, you see my point, though. The idea of, God damn it, Satish, what side are you on? No, because now you're cheering for Roman Reigns. I don't know what side you're on. As a heel, you're cheering for Roman Reigns. I don't know what side you're on.
I'm cheering for everyone that I cheer for.
Oh, wow, you're a current day fan.
Yeah. Look at me. I'm indecisive and hard to please.
You look like a millennial, even though I can't actually see you, but I hear your voice. You sound like a millennial. Do you want some things?
I do.
You do want
some things in life.
You're a millennial. You're undeserving. And also you're entitled. Do you want basic things like respect?
I would like to be respected, yeah.
Oh, you fucking millennial. Back in my day, I was never respected. And you know what? They respected me more for it.
That makes sense.
But anyway, seriously though, the idea of just, I incapacitated the victim. You wait, the person or the victim? Well, I mean, they were a person at first, but then they became the victim. It's like, yeah, they did. I don't know. I'm sorry, just hitting a guy with a chair that many times. It's 1 time, okay, I'm scared that he's going to get up. 2 times, sure. Any more than that, it's like Roman, especially he was doing it harder, screaming. So you're sitting there and you're like, look, is this really the whole John Cena anger thing? Like, I know it might seem bad, but he's really mad. It's like, that should not be. You remember that?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You remember John Cena's prime? His angry
pretty
prime?
Well. I remember it pretty well.
Because I wasn't watching then, but I saw a clip recently, and this clip really made me think about that. About what just happened. It was Jack Swagger, as a heel, by the way, and John Cena as a face. Now, John Cena was very mad at Kane. So in this match with Jack Swagger, John Cena brutally beat down Jack Swagger to the point where heel Jerry the King Lawler said, "Oh, come on, this isn't fair." And, face Jerry the King Lawler. No, wait, no, I'm thinking, who was what? No, I'm thinking, because all I remember is that the heel side said, the heel side, which I believe was, Michael Cole was a heel, excuse me. This was when it was flipped. So Michael Cole said, this isn't fair to Jack Swagger at all. And Jerry the King Lawler said, oh, come on, John Cena's mad, they're in a match, this is what's going to happen. Mind you, it's a normal match. Jack Swagger has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that he's a heel. And John Cena's throwing him into the stairs, slamming his head into the stairs, slamming him against the announcer's table. And John Cena looks so mad, like he's about to rip Jack Swagger in two, even though Jack Swagger just is having a match with him. And I'm like, wow, this is really, really bad if you're thinking, man, we should all love John Cena.
Sounds realistic to me.
Now, I admit, Rusev did hurt Roman Reigns, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that Rusev is just, squeaky clean, right? He's an ass. But still, Sheamus is the one that Roman wants to go after. Hell, Barrett just interfered right now. Barrett would be the one you'd go after. But no, hit Rusev with a chair 8 times because I'm mad. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Not a big fan. I'd rather take look, if you're going to give me the John Cena approach, then make him more of a tweener. Don't put him in a situation where it's just like, oh, no, he has, there's nothing he can do. He is, the authority is going to beat him down, and he doesn't have, he can't fight back. It's like, unless he has a chair, in which case he's coming out swinging. Though I have to admit, if next week Roman Reigns uses the table, and if the week after Roman Reigns uses a ladder, I'll be impressed. Because TLC's dish.
Okay, I'm with it.
Oh God, Roman Reigns in a 3-on-1 handicap match. I think they've gone full John Cena.
I hope he doesn't have that, because that's not how you build a star. But
actually, I'm sorry. That wouldn't happen. I'm so sorry. He fights 3 times in one night. He fights Rusev in a chairs match. He then fights Sheamus in a ladders match. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, not Sheamus. He fights Barrett in a tables match. And then he fights Sheamus in a TLC in the main event. All 3 matches are in a row. Sheamus, we have Reigns beating just all 3 of them just perfectly. Just clearly. Just the first one to get hit with a chair. Oh, man, Roman Reigns wins. The first one to get, through a table. Oh, man, Cena through the table. And then the TLC. Both matches are a combined 10 seconds until the TLC match. But go on.
No, I was going to say the one thing I will tell them is I like the general situation of how many people are now siding with the authority. Because I like the whole idea of hey, if you're a heel, why not side with the authority?
It makes sense. I mean, look, if you're going to get rid of the authority stable, that's totally fine. But if the authority's still around, what the hell, guys? Come on. Let's do this.
Why not, right? It makes sense to me.
Yeah, might as well. But yeah, so we're actually at the end of our show. So good. We're doing it. We're making time. We have time for things now. And yeah, we'd like to thank you all for listening to those guys. We're going to mention all the cool different stuff that we have going on right now. And we have a lot of cool different stuff going on right now.
All one of them. Go for it.
All one of them? We have a lot of cool things. All right? We have our podcast that you're listening to. I shouldn't yell at you guys. I'm yelling at him. We have our podcast that you, which, by the way, we've done so many different shows. We've done, hell, it's just tomorrow we're doing Gravity Falls.
Oh, really?
You know, which sadly seems to be ending soon. But we're doing Gravity Falls tomorrow. And, you know, we've done Gravity Falls before. We've done, obviously, WWE Raw, WWE pay-per-views. We've done Steven Universe. We've done Arrow, Flash, Gotham, Supernatural, Doctor Who. We've also done jumping into anime, right? We've done, which, by the way, one of our podcasters, Tristan Walter, back from Africa, right? Not just some stupid joke. No, seriously, he was in Africa, and he was, yeah, because we make a lot of stupid jokes about stuff. But no, he was actually in Africa. He wants to be an archaeologist. At least I hope that is what he wants to be, because I've been saying that for a while. I'm pretty sure that's what he wants to be. And he was in Africa, which is funny because he says archaeologist, and I'm like, my God, because he was a huge fan of Indiana Jones growing up, and I'm like, you just did it. So, yeah, and he was with us doing our Dragon Ball Z Super podcasts on a weekly basis, which we should be jumping back into, you know, during December and January. Dragon Ball Super, he and I also were doing Dragon Ball Z movies and OVAs, as well as not just Dragon Ball Z movies and OVAs, but we were also doing Bleach movies and OVAs, as well as Dragon Ball movies and OVAs. So it was a lot of fun, and I'm really happy that he's back. Also, we've done Pokemon video game podcasts as well. And, yeah, and you can find all these shows, right? You can find these shows on our main website, which is thoseguysonthe.tumblr.com, on our Facebook, /thoseguysonthe.radio, our Twitter, @thoseguysradio, and our Instagram, /thoseguysonthe.radio. So you can find all of our shows there, and the updates on newer shows there as well. We also have our YouTube page, which is TGOTR, or Those Guys on the Radio, and our iTunes, which is just Those Guys, if you want to see some of our older shows on there as well. Speaking of YouTube channels, we also have our Let's Play channel. That's you know, we mentioned before, Satish and I were actually filming a newer episode just earlier today. And, yeah, you know, we have this YouTube channel, TGP, or Those Guys Play. You can catch a lot of our, you know, episodes on there. We've done a lot of different stuff. You and I have done WCW Mayhem. If you're into, you know, wrestling games, we've done Mayhem. We also have a lot of different games as well. Hell, even with Tristan, who came back from Africa, pre-Africa. And hopefully, you know, now that he's back, we're going to be able to record some other episodes as well. And, yeah, just a lot of cool stuff on there. Also, if you're a fan of the WWE video games, Satish Ram has made a lot of really funny entrances using a lot of different wrestlers. And I have as well, coming up for Thanksgiving, you know, we're going to make a post soon on our social media pages. We are thankful for the Ascension, which is why this week you're actually going to get to see on our YouTube channel, TGP, Those Guys Play, you're going to see a lot of different Ascension entrances, right? So the Ascension coming out to different superstars' entrances, and I think it's going to be really fun. So we're going to make sure to post that a little bit later on during the week and kind of just have a daily post, and it's going to be really fun. But also, right, we have our Gmail, thoseguysonthe.radio@gmail.com. You can email us there if you want to suggest a certain show idea, or if you want to have us, you know, promote you on the show, we would love to. And, yeah, you can promote your product or your, you know, service on the show. And like I said, we would love to. And, yeah. So, again, we would like to thank you all for you know, listening in. And anything you want to say before we end the show, Sadish?
No, I think that's pretty much it. We got through everything tonight very quickly, and I'm proud.
Me too. Yeah, so thank you all for listening in, and say goodnight, Satish.
Good night, Satish.